Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel Skinny on Carbs. My name is Andrea, and on this channel I try to use my background in biology, histopathology, and naturopathic medicine to help you live the life that you dream of and deserve. Okay, so I am going to give you the number one way to lose muscle while trying to lose weight on carbohydrates. Okay, this is going to be the number one thing that you can do to destroy your muscles. Okay, now I want you guys to take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm not into pounding like muscles on me. I just whatever, but I am just sharing with you what I know, and I hope you guys can take it for what it's worth. Okay, so what is the number one way to lose muscle while trying to lose weight on carbohydrates? Well, the number one way that you can do that is to rush your weight loss. Rush your weight loss. Push it to the max. I mean, lose 10 pounds every week for 10 weeks. That's how you lose all your muscles while getting skinny on carbs. And then once you've done that, you should blame the carbs for it, okay? All right. So let's backtrack. Let me explain to you why this is a terrible idea. And the reason I'm talking about this again is because, and I've spoken about this before, I'll probably, if I could remember to post a link to the video, I will. However, I see this over and over and over again in the weight loss community, right? People pushing fast weight loss. It is the worst thing you can do for preserving your muscles. Okay, everybody's all worried about which macronutrient is going to help them preserve their muscle, and you have to eat more protein to preserve the muscle while you're losing weight, and that's just bullshit, really. Okay, sorry to tell you guys, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. What matters the most is when you're losing weight is how you're signaling the body. Okay, so I'm not trying to tell you that if you want to build muscle that you're not going to need to eat some protein. Obviously, you're going to need the building blocks in order to do that. However, what we're talking about is preserving muscle mass while losing weight. All right? And the best way to preserve muscle mass while you're losing weight is to carb up, okay? Meaning carb up and don't undereat a significant amount of calories, which means don't rush your weight loss. Why am I saying that? Well, calorie deficit is needed in order to lose weight. This is a real thing. I've said this before. I know the calorie warriors don't like this. They want me to tell you you should just eat any amount of calories you want, just rev your metabolism up and you lose weight. That is nonsense. That is not how this works, okay? Now, so in order to lose weight, you need to have some sort of calorie deficit. It must exist, okay? How you get to the calorie deficit, there are many ways to get to well, not many ways, but there are multiple ways to get to the calorie deficit, okay? One of which is to calorie restrict. Okay, so if you are in a calorie deficit, you are clearly going to lose weight. If your calorie deficit is really big, you're going to lose a lot of weight very quickly. What that is signaling to the body is it is signaling stress and distress, okay? It tells the body that we are in starvation mode. It doesn't matter how many calories are coming in. What matters is the gap between how many calories are coming in and how many calories are being used. If the deficit is too great, the body sees this as stress and it will start to dig into the muscle for extra energy, okay? If the calorie deficit is big, it's gonna, the fat is gonna go after the fat. Yeah, you're gonna lose some fat, but you're gonna lose more muscle than you need to. And it's very hard to put muscle on at any age. Okay, yes, it's easier when you're younger, but putting on muscle is not an easy feat. If you don't believe me, go ask the bodybuilders, okay? Putting muscle on is not an easy feat. Putting fat on is easy, but not muscle. It's very hard, okay? You don't want to lose muscle unnecessarily. So if you rush that weight loss, if you rush the weight loss, you are going to lose more muscle than you need to. It doesn't matter what macro you're eating. You could be eating, I don't care how much protein, lean protein you're eating. If your calorie deficit is too great, you will dig into your protein on the body. It's going to happen because your brain, a very needy, picky organ, okay, your red blood cells, there are cells in the body that cannot use fat for fuel. They cannot, okay? There are cells in the body that can't use fat for fuel. They need sugar. And if the energy goes, if the deficit is too great, it's going to have to turn to the protein to make the sugars, okay? Remember, you're in a deficit. It doesn't matter how much lean meat you're eating. If the deficit is too great, it needs more energy than you're taking in. It needs more energy versus the lean meat, okay, that you're taking in, because we think we're going to eat lean meat and preserve muscle. Fine, whatever, okay. If the deficit is too great, it'll dig into your muscles, okay, to mine for sugar, because it can take the muscle and it could use a process called gluconeogenesis to create sugar to feed your brain and to feed your red blood cells and to feed the cells that cannot use fat for fuel, okay? Because you need 3 days, your brain needs about 3 days in order to accept ketones as fuel, and that's in the total absence of any sugar. And so when your deficit is running like that, you're not in a total absence of sugar because you're taking in protein, and the protein is being converted into sugar. So you're not in a total absence of anything, really. You're taking in nutrients. So your brain is not going to switch to fat for fuel. It's not going to happen. It's only going to happen if you are fasting. Usually if you're fasting or you're in a solid ketosis state for about 72, like you've got to be in solid ketosis before your brain is going to say, all right, okay, it's been 72 hours, clearly no carbs are going to come our way, we got to take these ketone bodies for fuel. So stop thinking that you're going to switch over into ketones and use it for, no, that's if you're fasting, you're not doing that. You're still eating. You're eating plenty of sugar by way of meat because your meat is being converted into sugar. So your body does see that something is coming, but the deficit is too great. It's got to make up for that deficit. It's going to dig into your muscle. It thinks it's starving, okay? You don't want to do that. Stop pushing your weight loss so fast, okay? That's the #1 way to lose muscle while trying to lose weight on carbohydrates. It's not the carbohydrate fault. It's not because you're not eating enough protein. You don't need to eat 1,000 pounds of protein in order to preserve the muscle, in order to lose weight. You don't need to do that. You just need to not push yourself in a huge caloric deficit. That is the #1 way to lose muscle while getting skinny on carbs. The #1 way, okay? I gotta say this because I see people going after that fast weight loss once again, okay? It was rampant during the time of the sugar fasting, sugar diet debacle, and it's coming back again. I see it coming back again, all right? And I'm just gonna put it out there like I did on the last trend that this is nonsense. You guys have got to stop it. You don't need to lose weight that quickly. It's not physiologically beneficial to lose weight that quickly. And if you lose weight that quickly, you will rebound and gain it all back when you go back to eating regularly, okay? Which you're going to have to at some point. You have to at some point go back to eating regularly. And when you do, because your body, you're not going to be able to keep the caloric deficit that hard that long. Your body is going to fight back, and it's going to fight back hard, okay? It's fighting for its survival. At least that's what it thinks based on what you're doing. And it's going to win. You're not going to win, all right? I'm just saying. So all that weight is going to come rushing right back. You don't want to do it that way, all right? And then all that weight is going to come back in the form of fat. But when you were losing the weight, you lost a lot of muscle. You're not going to be in a good position. You don't want to do it that way. Take your time. Stop following these internet personalities, because that's all they are. They're internet personalities. Stop following these internet personalities. Be consistent. Be the unsexy one. Lose weight nice and slowly and sustainably, all right? And do it with whole food carbohydrates. Do it with whole fruits and vegetables. It is possible. It is possible, all right? If you found something useful in this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, give me a like, don't forget to subscribe, share this video with someone that's trying to lose all their muscle while getting skinny on carbs. Maybe this will help them out, and I will see you guys in the next one. All right.